If your doctor has ever told you to cut bread, rice, and potatoes out of your life because of your blood sugar, I want you to hear something before you give up the foods you grew up eating. You do not have to eliminate them. You have to change how you prepare them, what order you eat them in, and what you eat them with. Real published research, not theory, not opinion, shows that simple kitchen techniques can cut the blood sugar impact of bread, rice, and potatoes by as much as 50% without changing the portion size or the food itself. Same food, same plate. A completely different number on your glucose monitor. Today, I am giving you 4 research-backed strategies that let you keep these foods in your life while meaningfully reducing their impact on your blood sugar. Every number I give you comes from a published study. If you have not subscribed yet, please do that right now. 2 seconds. Thank you. Now, let us start with the technique that surprised even me when I first read the research. Strategy 1. Resistant starch. This is the most powerful and least known strategy on this list. When you cook rice, pasta, or potatoes, and then let them cool in the refrigerator for at least several hours, something remarkable happens at the molecular level. The starch molecules rearrange into a tightly packed crystalline structure called resistant starch, a form your digestive enzymes cannot break down efficiently. Your body essentially cannot extract as much glucose from the exact same food. A study published in PMC examining type 1 diabetes patients found that rice cooled for 24 hours at refrigerator temperature and then reheated produced a maximum glycemia of 9.9 millimoles per liter, compared to 11 millimoles per liter for freshly cooked rice. The area under the glycemic curve, the total blood sugar exposure over 3 hours, was 135 compared to 336 for fresh rice. That is roughly 60% less total glucose exposure from identical rice, simply because it was cooled and reheated before eating. A separate study published in Nutrients found that potatoes chilled at refrigerator temperature for 5 days and then reheated produced significantly lower postprandial glucose, insulin, and GIP hormone responses compared to potatoes eaten hot immediately after boiling, in women with elevated fasting glucose and insulin. And research on bread specifically found that wheat products stored at refrigerator temperature for 24 hours showed a meaningfully lowered glycemic index and glycemic load compared to fresh bread in healthy individuals. Here is the practical part. The resistant starch survives reheating. You are not stuck eating cold rice or cold potatoes forever. Cook your rice, pasta, or potatoes the night before or earlier in the day. Refrigerate for at least several hours, ideally overnight, and then reheat before eating. Most of the resistant starch remains intact through the reheating process. How to use this? Meal prep is your best friend here. Cook a batch of rice or potatoes on Sunday, portion it into the refrigerator, and reheat individual portions throughout the week. Cold potato salad made with vinegar dressing is genuinely a lower glycemic way to eat potatoes compared to a hot baked potato, and it tastes better than it sounds once you know why it works. Strategy 2. A tablespoon of vinegar before you eat. This is one of the simplest and most well-studied interventions in all of nutrition science, and it costs about $1 a bottle. A systematic review and dose-response meta-analysis of controlled clinical trials in patients with type 2 diabetes found that apple cider vinegar significantly reduced fasting blood sugar by an average of 21.9 milligrams per deciliter and reduced HbA1c by 1.53 percentage points. The researchers found a clear dose-response relationship. Every additional milliliter of vinegar consumed per day was associated with further fasting glucose reduction, with the greatest effects seen at dosages above 10 milliliters per day. The mechanism is well understood. Vinegar contains acetic acid, which slows gastric emptying, meaning food moves more slowly out of your stomach, and improves how effectively your cells respond to insulin. A separate randomized controlled trial published in Clinical Nutrition ESPN found that 20 milliliters of apple vinegar daily over 8 weeks produced a significant fasting blood sugar reduction compared to a control group. There is one important detail from the research. Liquid vinegar works. Vinegar tablets do not. A study comparing the two directly found that liquid vinegar produced a 31% reduction in post-meal glucose excursion compared to both the placebo and commercial vinegar tablets, which showed no meaningful benefit at all. If you are taking a vinegar supplement in pill form for blood sugar, the research does not support that it works the same way. How to use this? Mix 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, the Bragg brand with The Mother, widely available at Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco, into a large glass of water and drink it 10 to 20 minutes before a meal containing bread, rice, or potatoes. If straight vinegar water is unpleasant, a simple vinaigrette salad eaten as the first course of the meal delivers the same acetic acid benefit. Never drink vinegar undiluted. It can irritate the esophagus and erode tooth enamel over time. Always dilute it in water. Strategy 3. Eat in the right order. Vegetables and protein before the carbohydrate. This strategy requires no special ingredients and no preparation. It changes nothing about your meal except the order in which you eat what is already on your plate. A study published in Diabetes Care by researchers studying carbohydrate-last food order in metformin-treated type 2 diabetes patients found that eating protein and non-starchy vegetables first, followed by carbohydrates 10 minutes later, reduced the incremental glucose area under the curve and glucose peaks by more than 50% compared to eating the same foods in the reverse order. The exact same meal, the exact same calories, just a different sequence on the fork. A follow-up study in adults with prediabetes confirmed these findings, showing that post-meal glucose spikes were similarly reduced by more than 40% when vegetables, alone or with protein, were consumed before the carbohydrate-rich portion of the meal. And a study published in PMC on Japanese patients with type 2 diabetes using continuous glucose monitoring found that eating vegetables before rice or bread meaningfully reduced postprandial glucose excursions, attributing the effect to the fiber in vegetables, slowing the digestion and absorption of the carbohydrate eaten afterward. The mechanism works on two levels. First, fiber and protein consumed first physically slow gastric emptying, so the carbohydrate that follows is absorbed more gradually. Second, eating protein and vegetables first stimulates the release of a hormone called GLP-1, which itself helps regulate the insulin and glucose response to the meal that follows. How to use this? At your next meal with rice, bread, or potatoes on the plate, eat your vegetables first, then your protein, chicken, fish, eggs, meat. Then, last, eat the bread, rice, or potatoes. Wait even 5 to 10 minutes between courses if you can. This single change in sequence, applied to a meal you are already eating, with food you already have, produces one of the largest effects of any strategy in this video. Strategy 4. Never eat the carbohydrate alone. This final strategy ties the others together. Bread, rice, and potatoes eaten completely alone, without fat, protein, or fiber alongside them, produce the fastest and highest blood sugar spike. The same carbohydrate eaten with a meaningful amount of fat, protein, or fiber produces a meaningfully gentler response, because all three of these macronutrients slow gastric emptying through related but distinct mechanisms. This is why a slice of bread eaten alone spikes blood sugar more than the same slice of bread eaten with avocado, eggs, or a source of healthy fat. It is why plain white rice spikes blood sugar more than rice eaten alongside grilled salmon and sautéed vegetables. The carbohydrate has not changed. What surrounds it on the plate has. How to use this? Never build a meal around bread, rice, or potatoes alone. Always include a palm-sized portion of protein and a source of healthy fat, olive oil, avocado, nuts at the same meal. A baked potato with butter and a side of grilled chicken behaves very differently in your bloodstream than the same baked potato eaten by itself. All four together, what a complete meal looks like. Here is what these four strategies look like combined into one realistic dinner. A small vinaigrette salad to start, delivering the vinegar benefit. Grilled chicken and sautéed vegetables eaten next. Then, last, a portion of rice that was cooked the day before, refrigerated overnight, and reheated, delivering the resistant starch benefit. Same dinner most people already enjoy, reordered and slightly adjusted in preparation. You did not eliminate a single food. You changed how you approached it.
I had a patient, her name is Linda, 68,
A retired postal clerk from Tucson, Arizona. She had been told by a previous doctor to cut out rice and bread entirely. She is of Mexican-American heritage and told me, almost in tears, that giving up rice felt like giving up part of her family's table. We did not ask her to give it up. We applied all 4 of these strategies to her existing meals: cooling and reheating her rice, a small vinegar-dressed salad before dinner, vegetables and protein first, carbohydrate last. Her continuous glucose monitor showed her post-dinner spikes drop substantially within 2 weeks. Her HbA1c dropped from 7.4 to 6.6 over the following 3 months. She told me, "Nobody ever told me I could keep eating the food I love. They just told me to stop." You do not have to stop. You have to learn the technique. Drop this in the comments. Which of these 4 strategies are you going to try first? I read every single one. Share this with someone over 60 who was told to give up bread, rice, or potatoes. They deserve to know there is another way. This is Dr. Daniel Harres. Take care of that blood sugar. You have more control over it than you think.